And we'll see it live on the top left. I think we're live. Well, good morning, everybody. Wherever you are around the country, around the world, I am beyond excited to be joined by three of my favorite people. We have Jonathan Costello from Connecticut. We have Brayden Harrington coming in from New Hampshire, and Elazar Abrahams coming in from Brooklyn, sporting the campaign sign in the background. And Jonathan Costello has a background that is somewhat reminiscent of Joe Biden's background when he would give speeches from home. But it's a special time. I've been in touch with the Harringtons ever since Brayden really rocked the world and rocked my world. And Jonathan Costello rocked my world in 2019 with his viral video, which you can see. It's in the description. I will put it in the links, but on the website, you can see both of their videos. These are extraordinary young people. And we had talked about coming together on November 8th, tentatively, and little did we know how auspicious that date would be. And so as the election results came in, it occurred to me, why don't we circle together and bring out these young people to really hear from them, not at all from a political point of view, but from the point of view of what does it mean to young people who stutter to see the vice president, former vice president, Joe Biden, now become the president-elect. And what that means is that a person who stutters, a person who grew up with a stutter, a person who continues to occasionally display a stutter, is now the president of the United States, which means that anything is possible. And so my hope is that through listening to these young people, the message that comes through would be that for parents, if you have a young child who stutters, or if you are a teacher or a counselor or any sort of influencer, or if you're a young person yourself, to recognize that anything is possible with hard work and putting your best foot forward. Obviously, nothing comes easy. Joe Biden didn't become president because he stutters, but the fact that he stutters didn't hold him back, and in some ways may have given him certain assets along the way. So my hope is that people take away, there's no reason to think that a young person who stutters should have some sort of ceiling or some sort of barrier of what they can or can't do. Anything is possible with hard work and putting your best foot forward. And stuttering can be an obstacle, and it can also be a great teacher along the way. So with that, I would love to just throw out the question to any of you, whoever would like to just raise your hand and take it first. Before he was elected president, what were your interactions and what were your thoughts about Joe Biden? When did he first come on the scene for you? When was the first time you kind of realized, hey, this is an adult who stutters. Hey, we have something in common. Well, how did that start? Who would like to take it first?
I'll take it. So I met him in a rally, and I watched him, and it was really hard for me to sit in the seat for a long time because I have to move around, but it was really good to watch the rally. And when he first came out, I was really happy to see him, and I was really happy to see that somebody who stutters like me made it this far in life. And he was a former vice president, now the president-elect, and it was just really good to meet him.
Wow. And Johnny, what about you? What was the first time Joe Biden came on your radar? Hold on, I've got you on mute. Just click to unmute yourself so we can hear you.
All right. So the first time I really heard about him was probably when he was leaving office in 2016, because there was rumblings that he was going to run for president, and someone told me, "Oh yeah, he has a stutter," and I was like, "That's cool." Well, hooked it up. Turns out he did, and then I didn't really think anything of it until he announced his campaign back in, I don't know, August of last year or May of last year. And I was like, wow, this could be a really big thing, a person who stutters. And when I made my video about stuttering, turns out he saw it. He invited me up to a rally in Manchester. Was it Manchester? Yeah, and that was really cool to see him and meet him, and see that someone who stutters can really have a big role in this world and talk every day. Like he talks in front of hundreds and thousands of people every day. Like that's incredible. I think you're on mute.
Thanks for the help. See, we all need a little help from our friends. Elazar, when did Joe Biden come on your radar? This whole thing.
Yeah, sure. So I've never met Joe Biden like YouTube. So that's not as cool. But I definitely remember when you go online and you Google like a famous people who stutter, and obviously I think he's the top one now. He's definitely the top one. And it was just cool to know that, I think when he was vice president, which I remember pretty well, I was 8 to 16, right during that time. So I definitely remember it. He didn't speak as publicly, I guess. So I think definitely in the past year, I think I've learned more about his speaking and more about his stutter, which has been really, really cool to see. But I always kind of knew that he was there.
Amazing. So for you guys, and when Elazar was coming on, he felt a little bit left out, guys. He's like, I don't have a picture with the guy. So we got to make that happen. All right. Can we do something for Elazar? Can we get him a picture with Joe? All right. We'll work on that afterwards. But, I want to bring out the human side of this, Jonathan and Brayden. So even though Elazar has not had an individual private interaction, personal interaction with Joe Biden, can you guys share, so you went, Brayden, you went to the rally, or Jonathan, he saw the video and invited you to the rally, but, what kind of attention did he give you? Was it just like a quick handshake, ta-ta? Was it, a few minutes where you felt like he had 1,000 things to do? Can you describe whatever it was, whether it was meeting him in person or getting a phone call? Can you just share a little bit about that? Whoever wants to go first. Jonathan.
There we go. It was after the rally, and it was about 1,000 people in this little gym church thing. I don't really know. It was like a gym in a church, and there was like a line of people to see him. And they put us at the very, very back. They're like, come here. He'll have more time to talk. And he talked and shook hands with every person in the line. And I was standing there for about an hour. And finally, he got down to us. And I was like, and in my head, I was thinking, this better not just be a handshake. And well, it turned out it wasn't. He really connected with me on a personal level. And he told me I'm part of a special club, in that I have to own it, and I have a very bright future ahead of me. And it was really, really nice to hear that from someone who has shown that there can be a bright future ahead, and someone who did it in a field where he does have to speak, but he speaks with pride, and he does it very well every day. So yeah, it was really, really nice to meet him. He's a really sincere guy. He's very genuine. He talks with heart. Yeah.
I heard he's still waiting for your congratulations call. Have you had a chance to call and offer him your congratulations?
No, but I was going to write a letter, so that will be
awesome.
sent soon.
Awesome. And did you have any follow-up with him, or was just that one-off meeting?
It was sadly just that one-off meeting, but if I did follow up and say, now you really made it, you really showed the world that we can be in the highest position.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks, Jonathan. Brayden, you want to share with us, your experience? So you went to the rally, and where to go from there?
So I went to the rally. We were around the middle section of the line, and we did get cut off like a few times. And a lot of people just went past us. And so we finally got to the shaking hands. My dad said, hello, Mr. Biden. This is my son, Brayden, and he stutters. And it's like Mr. Biden just paused the whole world and just talked to me and just looked at me like nobody else was here. And he said that it's going to be okay. This doesn't define you. He gave me a bunch of compliments. And then I'm a baby, so I got really emotional. And so he pulled me out back, and he went over like his childhood, how he marks his speeches, and a whole bunch of topics. And it was really nice of him to do that, to talk to a 13-year-old kid.
Amazing. So for all of you, I guess, there was something about him. Would you say that you all felt like you had something in common? Was there something you hooked into that you felt in his story or in the way he spoke that you connected? You felt like, yeah, we're similar. And then maybe there were other things that were not similar, because different people who stutter differently and have different experiences and different strengths and all that stuff. I was wondering if any of y'all would share, what was it that what was that connection? What was it similar? How did you feel, connected, similar with with Joe Biden? Who would like to take that one?
I'll go first. I felt a lot of connection with him, because that was like the first person I really got to talk to who stutters. And he, like I said, he was like the nicest guy in the world. And I felt some connection, and some other topics I just really didn't feel connection, because he came from a different place. He came from Delaware or something, and
It's a really small state. Like
Yeah.
there's like, yeah,
so it's
Delaware.
a little different from mine, but I did feel a pretty good connection with him.
Awesome. And Elazar, you want to go with that?
Yeah, sure. I think I definitely relate to, you can tell that he's nice, and he's I think people who stutter are more likely to care about others. The kindness from him, not like, obviously that's not just because of his stutter, he's gone through tremendous a pain and a loss too, but definitely I think that growing up with a stutter makes you more sensitive to other things like that. And I think definitely people who stutter, when they watch him speak, you can tell like when he's changing the word that he wants to say this word, but he has to go back and say it over, and change it up just a little bit so that the sentence will work. So I definitely think that's very relatable, and just really cool to see. I was texting you last night and I said, we ever think that someone who stutters could be like the president of the US. And like I said, no way. Like I would never in a million years really think that like this was possible. But it did. It happened. And I think that's
And what did
amazing.
I tell you when you asked me that?
And you said,
did any of us?
and you said that you always thought that it was possible.
Listen, when I meet rock stars like all of you, and I know Johnny, I don't know if do you remember the first meeting you had with my dad? I know your father shared with me something. You want to just share that story, because I think that speaks to Elazar's point. Like, did we ever think a person who stutters could become president? And for me, as a guide, as someone who tries to be a champion for people who stutter, yeah, I always do. Except I have to deal with people's doubts. You know, young people have doubts, parents have doubts, teachers have doubts. Everybody doesn't want to like hurt anybody. And I'm like, I meet people like you guys, and I'm like, you can move mountains, man. So I don't have doubts. But Johnny, what you know, if you could share that story, I think that's a beautiful story.
So I was about 7-ish, and I had a really bad stutter, and I had a bad time with a couple of speech therapists, and honestly, it probably just made it worse. And I was really nervous because I thought that it would be like, oh, this is the worst. This is the worst stutter we've ever seen, because I never met anybody with a stutter. The only other people I knew who stuttered there was like this weird like video that they made for, like, the talking basketball. I don't know if you've seen it, and it's really terrible. That's the only other time I'd seen a person who had stuttered at that age. And I talked with him for about an hour, and he told me, you're one of the best communicators I have ever met. And I was like, what? But I stutter. You can't really understand me. And he said, I can. You always get your message across, and you always get your point across. And I find it the same way in Biden, is that yes, he might have a couple of gaffes, or he might say the wrong thing sometimes, but his point is very clear, and he has a very clear message, and he speaks very clearly, and everybody knows what he means and he's trying to say. And I think that it shows, like, you can be a fluent speaker and your sentences can sometimes not be coherent and they sound like a bunch of junk, but even as a person who stutters, if you take your time and you say it correctly and you say it patiently, people can really understand and hear your message.
Did any of you ever see this pop up on your phone?
No, I don't think
Do you
so.
see what I think you see, which is Joe Biden's caller ID?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and did you ever get one of these calls?
Sorry. Yeah.
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry, Brayden. You know, that name thing on Zoom is killing me.
So I'm going to
You know,
slide
I
back.
think you did it on purpose.
Brayden.
You can pop in, but I meant Brayden. Brayden, have you gotten these like you're wondering who's calling? Oh, who's that on the phone again? Oh. Have you had that?
I've gotten a bot call before, and I was like, my mom said, or I was like, can I answer my phone? And my mom's like, no. And then I said, but it's a bot call. And she said, then go ahead, go right away. And I answer and I say, hello. And he's like, this is Joe Biden speaking. I was like, wow, I didn't know he would actually call me. And because he was on the race, and I didn't know he would have the time to do that.
So you got a live call, or it was a bot call?
It was a bot call.
No,
it was a live call.
I mean, it was live, but it didn't say his
Got it.
his name or anything.
So during the race, you got a call where he personally took the time to call you live. It wasn't just a robocall.
Oh no, he was talking through the phone.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. So maybe can you guys think about reflecting on, did something inside of you shift? Did something feel even more, or was it just kind of the same old when the news came out that he was actually going to be declared the victor in this election and be destined to become the president-elect? Did that do anything for you guys? And if so, like, what was that new level? What was that new feeling? Or was it just the same?
So it was very, very special for me, I would say, because all of my friends have been so like supportive all of my life, and they had known that I'd met him, and when he got elected, all my friends were texting me saying, he's in office now. The guy that you met, the guy that you know, it's so awesome. It's so great that we have it, that my friend knows that I'm a president, and it was really nice because it showed that like other people care outside of people who stutter about not just him being who he is and about all of the things he believes in and about his politics, but about how big it is to have a person who stutters, and that he can still be a great president even though he has this barrier, and he's been through a lot his whole life, and he's shown incredible strength. Like, if only one of the things that happened to me that happened to him, I would probably break down and not be the same person. But he's been through a lot, and he continues to be strong, and it was really nice to see a person of his character and his strength to be back in office and showing the whole world how to do it. So yeah, I'd say that it was really important, and it did change the way I see it.
Awesome. If you see me looking away, it's just because I'm trying to process the many people who are trying to hear you guys and get this shared with as many people as possible. Because a lot of people, it's amazing. You guys should know, like, you're the future. And that's why this is so significant, because each of you, Jonathan and Brayden, Elazar, in your own way, you're just young people, but once upon a time, all of us were young people too. And inside of us is a little young person. And we may have had dreams that we wanted to go after a certain job or a certain relationship or a certain lifestyle or whatever. And we said, oh, I could be a sportscaster. I couldn't be a sports agent. I couldn't be a lawyer, And so for a lot of older people, when they hear you guys talking, it like wakes up something that they want to wake up inside themselves. So even though you guys have a lot of years to go and there's huge promise and you're already so awesome, so it's hard to imagine like how far you can go. So many people want to hear you because it wakes up something inside of them. And so I just want you to know it means a lot what you're doing and sharing this. So Brayden, would you like to share? Did anything shift for you, or?
I would say that something definitely did shift. I feel like I've grown more confident in my stutter, and I'm sorry, something's really funny over here. And something it's really confident because he really helped me, and I've grown more confident since the DNC, I think. And I have a big feeling because a lot of people tweeted that, look, Brayden's gotten grown a lot. And I feel like it's true too, because I have grown a lot, and it's really nice for him to talk to me too.
That's awesome. Elazar, what about for you? Since the results came back, did something
yesterday.
shift, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's the ultimate 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 sign that like you really can do whatever. I think also something that I've learned about stuttering, which I think this also is like shows, is like no one really cares about it as much as you do. Like there definitely will always be people that are just not nice, but I think people who stutter eventually realize that it's in your own head a lot that people care. And I think this is like really like just a huge deal. It's a huge deal. And like I said, like I never really thought that it was going to happen, even though it was like going in that direction for a long time. And yeah, for him to win with the most votes of anyone, I think that's so great. And I commented yesterday to someone that I almost wish that I was a younger, like now, so that I could like live through his term as like a younger person who stutters. Like obviously I'm not old, but yeah, like I definitely know that like if I was a 12 like now, like I would think that it was like the greatest thing like ever.
Not to suggest, Johnny and Brayden, that you guys are 12. It's okay. But Elazar is a
I
junior
was 12.
in college.
If I was
Yeah, you're a
13.
junior in college. What
Yeah.
do you think would be different? What do you feel is the climate now that he's president? What suddenly is like lifted, and what do you wish you could be living through? What would be different?
I just think like I know that there's a lot of young people that are looking up to him, like young people who stutter maybe in a similar way to the new vice president. How that's also like people see her and like they know that like they can do that. So on a smaller scale, I think Joe Biden like really shows like a lot of young kids that they can do that, and that's it. I think it's great.
That's awesome. So I think what you're saying is the significance of breaking boundaries, both for
Right.
Joe Biden being a person who stutters.
Correct.
he
Young
opens-
people have that role model. Yeah, so I think that's amazing.
Like it matters. It matters to see that someone
It matters. Yeah.
went that far. And similarly, Kamala Harris, obviously, first woman, African American descent, Indian descent, opens the door for those possibilities, which it just becomes a reality, right? It's a new norm that becomes established. So I guess that's what you're saying. Like it would be nice to live your high school years through that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So in that, maybe that would be a beautiful lead into the next question. I'd love each of you to think. And Brayden, you gave the vice president, the president-elect, it's so confusing, like what to call everybody, but you gave him a great pep talk and told him like, it's going to be okay. You might stutter, just, stand your ground, stick to the message. What would you guys say maybe for people that don't know stuttering as well as you guys? What would you hope the world would understand? And it could be things you see people say about Joe Biden, like you see him speaking and you see a little hiccup and you're like, oh yeah, I know what's going on right there. And other people might misinterpret it, or you might know for yourselves times where you've had a little stutter, a moment of disfluency, a hiccup, a repetition, whatever. What would you like other people to know? And maybe what would you ask people to do? Anybody want to go for that? Yeah, Johnny.
Um, I'd say that it's a little bit sad sometimes when people don't understand because some people accuse him of being like not there mentally, like he's past it, and he might have like Alzheimer's or like dementia or something crazy like that, and they say it, and you ask him why, and and they're like he sometimes fumbles his words, he sometimes doesn't say the right things, he sometimes switches words mid sentence, and I think it's sad to see that like people don't know that he's just stuttering, and that's sometimes how it's gonna be. Like he tries hard not to stutter, like as Brayden said, like him like he marks up all of his speeches. So he puts in pauses to try and make sure that he has the least amount of stuttering as he possibly can. But sometimes it happens, and I think it's very important for people to know to just get off his back. Almost, it's not his fault that he stutters, and it sounds sometimes that people feel that way. Like one kid at school back in like March was like I was he was talking with some people like right behind me on purpose because he knew that I had met him, and he's like Joe Biden, he's the R word. I don't think you want me to say it here. He's past it. He's crazy. He doesn't speak properly. He's a moron. I turned to him and I was like, dude, chill. He just has a stutter, just like me. You can hate me. You can say that to me, but like it really doesn't matter that he has a stutter. He still does what he does, and he does it very, very well. And I think that's important for people to know that it's just a stutter, and it's not that he's like past it or something.
I always love how you say it straight, man. I would say it in my own way, less straight, but I mean, that was so raw and so beautifully said. I would just say for people to know, probably the most prevalent misconception is that somehow stuttering is a reflection of shakiness in your thoughts. You're not sure what you want to say, or you're having a shaky moment of confidence. Maybe you're an anxious person or a nervous moment, and stuttering is just not that. You know, you might have that happen for the average person when you feel those things. But for a person who stutters, right, you know exactly what you want to say. Totally solid here. All the cars are lined up. It's just getting the mouth to do the thing to get it out. There's a physical block there, but it's not a reflection of a mental cognitive moment. So that's a great point. Johnny, thanks. Brayden, you want to take a go? Anything you think would be helpful to know? I mean, you were so helpful to Joe. Maybe you could help everybody else take something away.
Well, I probably hour and a half before this meeting, I watched Jonathan's video, and it was his tips were really on point on how to talk to somebody who stutters and how to approach them. And it's just terrible how people think of him as some guy who doesn't know what he's saying and mentally ill or something, because he's definitely not. Out of all those things, he's neither of them, except because he stutters. And it's just that it's not that he's mentally ill, it's that he can't get his words out like me and Jonathan and Elazar, sorry. It's just, all you have to know is that you know what he's going through and you feel what he's going through. And it doesn't matter what other people think, because they're not going to go up on stage and tell everybody that Biden's mentally ill or something. They can't do that. They're in middle school. They can't do that without it without like some sort of I forgot the word, some sort of like invitation or something. They can't do that, and it just matters what you think and what you know and the facts, and that's what I think.
I just want to read to you guys a comment from my friend Michael Ryan. He's in Ireland, and he's writing what I said to you guys before, how you guys are waking up these dreams that lay inside of people. Some people grow old with dreams that they never let themselves pursue. And I think, just to the point that you guys are saying, sometimes your worst enemy is that person that says something stupid, or that person that doesn't let you finish, that person that cuts you off and gets it wrong. I know Elazar gets that all the time. But other times I think we hold ourselves back, right? Like, we know we want to do something, but as Elazar said earlier, like, we make it a bigger deal than other people might make it. We don't take the risk. We don't dare to try. We don't dare to try and see what would happen if we went to be captain of the team, if we tried out for a debate. Like, we sometimes hold ourselves back before we even try. So Michael Ryan wrote, he's 59 years old and he still has dreams. And you guys are stirring those up for him and for so many people. So it's so special. Brayden, that was great. Thank you for sharing that. Elazar, you want to share a tip, a thought?
Yeah, I definitely think the narrative that you guys just spoke about is frustrating, you know, to know that stuff is out there and has been pretty prevalent in like the last year or so. But at the same time, like, what makes me feel better is that he won, you know, and I think we could also really make the case that he won because of the empathy and the kindness that he gets from stuttering, you know, and from that side of his life.
Can you elaborate on that? Because you have a couple more years on these guys. You're talking about like the upside, the gain.
Yeah. Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. So, like I said earlier in the talk, I definitely think we can see it in Joe Biden. We can see it in ourselves. I think, you know, this is a generalization, but I think it would be safe to say that people who stutter would tend to be nicer, kinder people who, you know, you're not going through the same thing as someone else, but like, you know that like you have this thing that's really hard for you, they have this thing. I think that's a huge factor. I can say personally, I want to go into journalism, and I definitely think having a stutter has made me better at being able to write well. You know, like I can choose the words that I want to use on the page, and yeah. And look, I'm not the person to say that I would rather have the stutter, because, like, you know, let's be honest, it is a roadblock in a lot of scenarios, but I mean, definitely, I think it makes you a better person, if I'm allowed to say that. Yeah. And
Awesome.
so just to go back to Joe Biden, like, it is frustrating. It is hard to see in the past year, you know, people going after him for the way he speaks and that kind of thing. But now to know that he won, and that, you know, he won with that, and I think he won in large part because of that. Yeah, I think that's really great.
Amazing. I'm gonna take us home in a small way, but as I just give these closing words, I do want to give each of you guys a chance. So if, while I'm saying what I'm gonna say, something comes to mind and you want to give a go, I won't hang up on you, because people didn't come to hear me, came to hear you. But again, the comments and the people jumping in are just so effusive and from all over the world. So if you're watching this, I ask you to drop a comment, drop a like. I ask you to share it because the messages of these young men needs to be heard. This is a really special moment in so many ways, in so many challenging ways. But one of the things that's come out of this pandemic, for example, is I've gotten to spend more time with each of these three guys, and I'm better off for it. So I'm happy that I'm able to just kind of create a vehicle for you guys to have a platform. You already are awesome, and I'll put all those links in there to see Jonathan's viral video, the PSA video. I did that little demo a few seconds ago. You go on our website, you go to the blog page and just search viral video, boom. Or you can look up Jonathan in a number of places. Maybe he'll drop a link in there. Brayden, I mean, you know, if you're not living under a rock, you may have seen one of his videos, but it's fair to say that he was a pivotal part of the campaign as a voice of authenticity, of strength, of courage. I think he touched so many people with his courage, bravery, authenticity, just remarkable. And Elazar, knowing you as long as I do, you know, after I spoke with Brayden the first time, you said, hey, I got to get in on one of these. So this is it. This is such an opportunity. So I just want to reflect on the words of my friend, Parker Mantell. Parker Mantell, before you guys came around, I think it was around 2014, someone could correct me, he gave the commencement speech at Indiana University. And I just want to read a little excerpt, and you can find that speech and his TED Talk also on our blog page. Just look up Parker Mantell. Guy's a busy guy, so we haven't had a chance to pull him in. I tried to loop him in for today. I'm sure he's watching this. So Parker, we got your number. He said as follows. He said, you know, Beethoven was deaf. Imagine if he never dared to listen to his calling to compose music. Ray Charles was blind. Imagine if he had never dared to envision that he could touch the keys of the piano. Albert Einstein was dyslexic. Imagine if he never dared to embrace seeing things differently by formulating equations. FDR couldn't walk. Imagine if he had never dared to run. Imagine what you are depriving our world of if you never dare to achieve your purpose. And that, my friends, is the message that I'd like to leave everybody with, is as you guys show us, you can be younger, you can be older, you don't need to wait to be ready. When you feel you have something inside of you that's just burning inside of you, you know, do it. Dare to step out of your comfort zone. Don't be stupid. Don't do risky behavior. Don't be impulsive in a mindless kind of way, but recognize that if you feel you have inside of you some purpose, something you want to go for, find the champions that are going to get behind you. There are allies like your parents, like that one teacher in the school or that one guidance counselor that believes in people. And all the other ones are a bunch of haters, and that's okay. That's normal. But find that one champion, and it could be in your family or it could be outside your family. It could be a speech therapist. But there are people that want to get behind you and help you achieve everything you dream of. And Joe Biden certainly has really bulldozed through a certain glass barrier of sorts and gives all of us, those of us that are champions for people who stutter, parents, educators, and people who stutter, a little bit more confidence that we can do it. Any of you want to take it home, but again, just please share this, please comment, please like. These guys are awesome. I appreciate Sean, you dropping those links. That's awesome. And I'll add more links afterwards. But do you guys want to have any closing words before we take it away? So with that, hang around, because in 15 minutes, you can join me for a conversation with one of the most intelligent, articulate people I know. He's a rocket engineer at SpaceX. My good friend Ruben Schuff will be on in 15 minutes. All of these conversations, people have asked, will these be available? This conversation, all the public conversations are available on our website, on the blog page, and they're all available for replay. We hope that you've enjoyed the conversation. Please send any questions or comments. You could send them to us through the website, schneiderspeech.com/contact, and I'll forward them to the respective parties. But these guys are all-stars. I mean, I know Johnny's got to run to soccer. Brayden, I'm not sure where he's running, but something amazing. And everybody woke up early and carved out the time. So thank you. And for the parents behind the scenes who made this possible, and for all of you turning out, thank you so much. Wish everybody a wonderful day. And hopefully we can make the world just a little bit more respectful, a little bit more patient. And sometimes we think the job is for everyone to talk better. If we could all learn that on the other side of talking is listening. And if people who stutter could teach us one thing, I think that they would ask us, could you guys just learn to listen for an extra second? Just give an extra moment, like a little microsecond could make a world of difference. So I wish everybody a great day, great conversations. Keep talking. You guys are amazing. Everybody knows they're going to say, I knew him when. So we're all watching you. You guys are amazing. And you have lots of people behind you to support you along the way. If I can do anything for you, I'm there. All the best.
Thank
God
you.
bless America.